Welcome to Across the Balkans. I'm Nafisa Latic. Great to have your company. Work has begun at Europe's largest NATO military base near Constanta city in southeast Romania. The war in Ukraine has urged the alliance to work on increasing security in Balkan countries to avoid any possible spillover. With the expansion of the airbase, NATO aims to strengthen its eastern flank, only a short distance from the Ukrainian section of the Black Sea, and give Romania stronger security guarantees. The airbase will be able to host 10,000 NATO soldiers and their families and is expected to surpass the US military base in Ramstein, Germany in size. The project will resemble a town with schools and hospitals and become fully operational in 2040. Romania has long been a key hub for NATO operations in the Black Sea region. Thousands of US soldiers have cycled through the country on training and security missions since the beginning of Russia's attacks on Ukraine. Joining me now from Bucharest is Miruna Butnaru-Troncota. She is an analyst in EU foreign and security policy. Miruna, great to have you with us. Now, what does it mean for Romania's future, NATO's decision to expand in Constanta?
Thank you very much for having me. This is a very important strategic decision at the NATO level that confirms also Romania's privileged position at the Black Sea as one of the hubs of the eastern flank. This new military base will become the biggest NATO military structure, even bigger than the one currently in Ramstein in Germany. So this will bring not only more importance to Romania, but also more responsibility for the security of all allies. And taking into consideration that Romania is so close and Constanta, the place of this new military base, is right in the vicinity of the war in Ukraine, this again shows that this was a strategic decision. The military base will end in 2040, so practically it's a long-term project. It's also very expensive. The Romanian government has allocated a significant amount of money, but of course NATO and the United States will fund this project that in the end will practically be the biggest military base of NATO in another country.
And give us more details about how will this military complex look like when it's finished?
So we are talking about almost a small city that is close to Romania's Constanta port, but it's in a location called Mihail Cogălnicianu, and practically it will host around 10,000 soldiers. And just for you to have an image, currently Romania in this military base has 5,000 soldiers, so it will almost double, and it will host soldiers and their families, and it will have schools, hospital, different facilities. It will be like a small town of 10,000 soldiers. Moreover, it will spread around 2,000 hectares, so practically again double than the size for the moment, and that is why also the construction work has already started, but it will last long. And many people have commented this in a strategic key, saying we are expecting a long war to take place in Ukraine, an endurance war. So that is why NATO tries to consolidate its position right at its border in order to be able to react whatever happens to any of the NATO members.
This base is near the strategic Black Sea port. How will this base impact the level of security and the architecture of security in the Black Sea as well, not just the eastern flank?
Yes, I think it's an important element that we need to keep in mind, because at the same time we know that NATO is an alliance that is very careful also with its non-member states, and NATO and Romania itself have offered a lot of assistance, military assistance to Ukraine, who is of course not a NATO member, but at the same time it's a partner, and it's a strategic decision practically to be very close to the Ukrainian needs. Now, we should also take into consideration that Poland, the Baltic countries, and Romania have strengthened their positions in NATO over the last year. So it's not something only connected to Romania because of the strategic position right at the borders of NATO. It's important to mention that this new military base will bring stronger security guarantees for Romania, but also for the neighboring countries. On a top priority list for Romania's foreign policy is also the Republic of Moldova, that is a smaller country, very much troubled because it has a military base on its territory in Transnistria, and there were many tensioned relations with the Russian Federation. For Moldova, for Ukraine, and for the neighboring countries, this military base will be an assurance and an addition for its strategic position.
Now, following the annexation of Crimea and the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Romania has been a very strong security partner for NATO, as you mentioned. Is this likely to continue regardless of the political situation in Bucharest, as we are heading towards several elections in your country?
Yes, definitely. No matter the government and no matter the ideological position of various politicians, Romania is a firm supporter of EU integration and NATO membership of all the countries in the region. And as we know, for example, Romania is an important contributor with soldiers to KFOR, to EU4 in Bosnia, in Kosovo, and we are a member of all the most important regional initiatives, right? Romania is member of the Regional Cooperation Council, of Black Sea Synergy, of Bucharest 9 format that was initiated by Romania in 2015, the Three Seas initiative, and even most recently, European Political Community. So I think this definitely shows that no matter what the elections will bring, Romania has a firm and consolidated focus on regional cooperation on security.
You've mentioned something that I absolutely agree on, as the Ukraine war is so unpredictable and it's likely to take place for several years. How do you think, looking at the entire Balkans region, how do you think NATO's strategy will evolve towards other countries and not just Romania? What could be their next steps?
I mean, definitely the war in Ukraine has directly impacted the Western Balkans. We know that we have 3 countries that are members of NATO: Albania, North Macedonia, and Montenegro, but still the most unstable countries that provide also security instability, like Bosnia and Herzegovina or Kosovo, represent a key challenge for NATO. And during the Madrid NATO summit, when NATO launched its strategic concept, Bosnia and Herzegovina was one of the countries that was specifically mentioned, together with the Western Balkans, as being as relevant for the NATO alliance as the Black Sea. So after the war in Ukraine, we can definitely see that the strategic importance of the Western Balkans for NATO has risen, and now there is more military preparations and more help offered to the countries in the Balkans. And I refer to Bosnia and Herzegovina because this is a country that already in 2016 entered in relation with NATO, so to say. It is part of the membership peace agreement and is collaborating more and more, having a military base that is managed by the European Union on its territory. And unfortunately, because of the political problems in Bosnia, these might escalate into security dangers. So the Western Balkans after 2022 became a priority for NATO.
Very important year for Romania. How will security, will it play a significant role in what people decide and who to vote in the upcoming elections? For who to vote in the upcoming elections?
It's important to say that we will have 4 rounds of elections. This is absolutely unique. It has never happened in the last decades in Romania, practically all elections at all levels. And I think most visibly, there are 2 elections that will bring a certain attention to foreign policy, even though outside the war in Ukraine, there are not so many foreign policy discussions in local domestic debates. And those would be European elections that will take place in June and presidential elections. Practically, it's important to have in mind that there are certain voices, and there is a far-right party in Romania that promotes certain Eurosceptic messages. And along with these nationalist and Eurosceptic messages, this interferes also with Romania's strong support for Ukraine, because these Eurosceptic voices are trying to propagate an image of sort of nationalist competition between Romania and Ukraine, and also to tone down the support that the citizens and the institutions have for Ukraine in this, of course, illegal war. So I would expect that for partially in the European elections, because members of the European Parliament will have to deal with next decisions at EU level on EU budget allocated to Ukraine, but also during presidential debates. And that is because in Romania, the president has one of the most important roles for foreign policy. So our role in the unfolding of the situation in Ukraine would be a topic for elections.
Miruna Butnaru Tronkota, it was lovely to speak to you. Thank you for all this insight and the look on security of the region from Bucharest. Thank you again. As we mentioned there, Romania is heading towards crucial elections this year. The EU member country will hold local, presidential, parliamentary and European vote by the end of 2024. We spoke with George Simeon, the leader of the country's main opposition far-right party, Alliance for the Unity. He says Romania should change its relations with Brussels to avoid any interference from the EU and cooperate more with Turkey in the areas of defense and security.
Since we entered the European Union, us Romanians are treated like second-class citizens. This is horrible for us, being in the European Union, but still not benefiting of the advantages that once was supposed to be a common European market. Our products are not competitive in the European market because the trucks coming from Romania have to stay in borders, and our truck drivers spend lots of times of their lives, of their professional activity in the border with Hungary, in the border with Bulgaria, in the border with Turkey. We entered full of hope, the European Union. I'm the youngest political party leader. I'm 37 years old, and this is not what we imagined. We imagined a space of freedom, of circulation of persons, of products, and we are treated like we are a colony. And the first thing the party I lead, the main opposition party in Romania, along with the party of Mr. President Kaczynski in Law and Justice, Fidesz in Hungary, Fratelli d'Italia and Lega in Italy, Rassemblement National in France, should do is to unite and slow these globalist ideologies or even stop them if we have enough votes and if we will have free elections this year on the 9th of June in all countries in the European Union. Because from what it looks like in Romania, we won't have free elections. They meddled with the constitution, they meddled with the dates the elections were supposed to be held. We had local elections only in September. It's a total act of despair from the current bureaucratic elites in Brussels to stop this wave of conservative, patriotic political parties.
Romania is a Black Sea country, one of your coastal neighbors, Ukraine, a war going on. How are you viewing the conflict over there, and how much of a concern is it for Romanians?
You can imagine in Romania and in all the Balkans, because your program is about the Balkans, the concern is very, very high. The Russian war of aggression must be stopped, and Ukraine should be supported. And I appreciated a lot the position of Mr. Erdogan taken at the meeting with Mr. Zelensky. But also, we need countries that discuss with both parties involved, and we need stable solution for the future and for the peace. And Turkey can play such a role.
If elected, would you want to be one of those leaders that can talk to both parties?
We have an experience in creating peace, especially in the Middle East. Back in Ceausescu period, we were a mediator between Israelis and the Palestinians, which is necessary also now in that conflict, and in the conflict between two countries that once were sisters. The Ukrainian Republic, Soviet Republic, was called the sister of Russia. We desperately need peace, because war brings only poverty, and in our region we experienced how bad are the conflicts for the civil population. Ukrainians suffered enough, and hopefully from our partners in NATO, we will have mediators who can reach the peace process.
The grain corridor deal. The Bosphorus is right behind us. The grain corridor ships actually pass through this body of water behind us. It's expired now. How do you view the deal that was brokered by the UN and the Turkish president with Ukraine and Russia separately? Is this something that you support? How is it impacting your country?
The grains from Ukraine, which don't respect the standard of quality, flooded the markets in Romania, in Poland, and in other countries. We, like other political parties in Europe and in the States, want to put the interest of our people first. And our farmers will probably disappear in 1 or 2 years, because this grain deal didn't help too much the Ukrainian people. It helped big corporations, it helped some governments, but these grains were never supposed to remain in Romania, and they remained in Romania. And the Ukrainian government should reconsider their position in order for these grains to get to Africa, because I was told that they go to Africa. I don't have any concrete evidence for this. I only talk with my farmers that tell me they cannot sell their products anymore.
Is this more of a problem now that the deal is expired, or is this a problem the whole time throughout the grain corridor?
It was a problem because 80% of Constanta harbor was occupied by Ukrainian grains, and the Romanians didn't have access to its own harbor, and we couldn't sell our products. If we would have received instead respect from our Ukrainian partners, for example, the schools and the churches we have in Ukraine could have existed, but they don't respect the ethnic Romanians in Ukraine, like we support and respect all minorities in Romania. For example, we have a Turkish minority, and they can go to their own churches and places of worship. They can learn the Turkish language. We are an example, especially in Dobroja area. I would like to see much more efforts put by the Ukrainian government to this subject, which is sensitive for us. They got all the help from Romania as a country, and I think we deserve much more respect.
One last question. A landmark deal between Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania regarding mines in the Black Sea and the relationship between Romania and Turkey. What are your thoughts on these two?
I would like much more cooperation between Romania and Turkey in the future. We have a strategic partnership signed in 2011. 1 million Romanians come to visit Turkey, and I would like to see much more Turkish citizens visiting Romania. We are grateful for your military help. We are grateful that Turkish soldiers protect the airspace of Romania with the F-16s. And the mine deal we have in Black Sea, demining the Black Sea, it's according to our vision of creating prosperity and stability into the Black Zone, and my political project of bringing together Italy and the Latin countries and the Adriatic and Mediterranean Sea with Poland at the Baltic Sea, and us collaborating in the Black Sea. It's the only security and the prosperity option we have.
George Simeon, head of Romania's major opposition, the AUR party. Thank you for joining us on Across the Balkans.
Thank you.
Every community in the Muslim world has that special drink or meal to break the day's fast in the holy month of Ramadan. And it's no different when it comes to the Balkans, which has a proud baking tradition with a variety of breads and pastries. For Muslims in Kosovo, there's a special bread called pitalka. And in the town of Prizren, a century-old bakery is working round the clock to keep up with the demand from locals who consider breaking the fast incomplete without it. Adam Amunu reports.
For Muslims in the town of Prizren, the time to break the fast is near. And yes, they're craving food, but not just any food. For this large crowd, nothing would be more satisfying than pitalka. Pitalka is a soft bread that is popular during Ramadan and is eaten during iftar, the meal that breaks the fast. The dough is shaped into rounds, scattered with sesame seeds, and then placed into stone ovens. Minutes later, you have a crispy yet pillowy delight. And because locals love it so much, the owners of this bakery are working round the clock to meet the demand, just like their ancestors have been doing for almost a century. The call to prayer breaks the silence of the streets. Sunset is here, and it's now time to eat. Delicious foods like meat, dates, olives, and other savory treats are served. Families and friends gather as they enjoy their meals, which of course includes pitalka.
Pjesë e madhe e qytetarëve agjerojnë Ramazanin, edhe për derë të muajit të Ramazanit faktikisht edhe mënyra, stili i jetesës ndryshon. Njerëzit Ramazanin e karakterizon shumë në Prizren që njerëzit mes veti shoqërohen, organizohen iftare për familjarë dhe miq, furat punojnë pothuajse gjatë tërë natës deri në syfyr.
Ramadan, practiced by Muslim adults who are physically capable of doing so, goes beyond abstaining from food and drink. It's also a time for deep spiritual reflection, self-improvement, and nightly prayers, just like at Pristina's Fatih Mosque. time seems to slow down during Ramadan, each moment carries meaning and purpose. From the pre-dawn preparations to the joyous iftar gatherings, every ritual serves as a reminder of the blessings of this holy month. And as the last morsel of pitalka is savoured, it's clear that Ramadan in Prizren is not just a tradition, it's a way of life. Adam Aminu, Across the Balkans.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching this episode of Across the Balkans. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.